This is Sleep Story Temple, and you have officially crossed the threshold into the most ancient sanctuary of all. You are leaving the loud, frantic, and heavily structured machinery of the modern world firmly behind you. Tonight, you are not merely stepping into another room. You are stepping completely out of time. You are entering a profound, mythic slumber, journeying far backward, far beyond the borders of any sleepy civilization you have ever known. We are traveling to the very beginning. We are returning to the quietest layers of ancient myth, to a place that existed long before the heavy, demanding burden of time was ever invented. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Mesopotamians carved a creation myth into clay tablets. They called it the Enuma Elish, named for its magnificent, awe-inspiring opening words, "When on high." It describes a time before the heavens above were ever named, and before the firm earth below had been given a title, before the mountains were formed, before the grid of society was laid down, and before the relentless ticking of the clock began, there was only the primal ocean. There was only Apsu, the sweet, fresh waters of the deep, and Tiamat, the warm, heavy, salty ocean of the cosmos. In this time before time, there was absolute, perfect stillness. There was no structure to maintain. There was nothing to fix, nothing to build, and nothing to solve. To live in the modern world is to live under the constant, crushing pressure of creation and maintenance. Since the moment you opened your eyes this morning, you have been forced to hold reality together. You have been building schedules, fixing problems, answering questions, and maintaining the complex, exhausting architecture of your daily life. Society demands that you constantly produce, that you constantly define yourself, and that you constantly move forward. The sheer amount of energetic friction required to constantly hold up the heavy structures of your waking life has left your nervous system entirely depleted. It is a deep, foundational weariness. You are exhausted from the endless act of doing. Tonight, we are uncreating that stress. We are going entirely backward. In your mind's eye, I invite you to visualize the space around you, gently shifting and dissolving. The hard, rigid lines of your bedroom walls, the ceiling, and the floor begin to soften, turning into a thick, cool, rolling silver mist. The heavy, demanding atmosphere of the waking day evaporates, replaced by the incredibly rich, damp, and ancient scent of deep water. As the mist slowly parts, you find yourself hovering safely just above the surface of a vast, boundless ocean. The water below you is dark, iridescent, and completely calm, moving only with a slow, eternal, and rhythmic swell. Above you, the sky is a canopy of deep, velvet charcoal, completely void of stars. The heavens have not yet been named, and the lights have not yet been hung. Look out across the endless horizon. The landscape here is intentionally, flawlessly empty. There is a profound, immaculate clarity to this space. There are no ruined structures to analyze. There are no forgotten flags waving in a distant breeze. There are absolutely no wandering figures or characters anywhere on the horizon to distract your weary eyes. There is no one here to observe, and no one here to observe you. There is only the pure, slow-moving water and the heavy, comforting fog. The supreme emptiness of this place is its greatest gift. It is a visual and energetic sanctuary where your mind is not required to process a single piece of information. Listen closely to the acoustic space beneath my voice. A low, rumbling, ambient hum begins to vibrate in the air around you, like the distant, muffled sound of ancient thunder rolling beautifully across the deep. Beneath it, you can hear the subtle, heavy, deeply relaxing sound of dark water lapping gently against an unseen edge. It is a frequency that speaks directly to the marrow of your bones, telling your physical vessel that it is finally safe to power down. You are resting at the threshold of the before. The chaotic grid of the 21st century has been completely locked away. There are no schedules waiting for you in these dark waters. There is no history to regret and no future to manage. You are standing on the very edge of the great, weightless void. Take a long, slow, luxurious breath of this ancient, misty air deep into the center of your chest. And as you release a heavy, effortless sigh, give yourself absolute permission to step out of the modern world and surrender entirely to the primal silence. You are hovering gracefully in the cool silver mist, suspended just inches above the dark, iridescent surface of the primordial ocean. The vast, eternal waters of Apsu and Tiamat stretch endlessly in every conceivable direction, untouched and incredibly still. There are no distant shores to reach, no heavy ships breaking the horizon, and absolutely no wandering figures or chaotic debris to disrupt the flawless clarity of this space. It is a pristine, undisturbed, and perfect void waiting patiently to receive you. In the ancient myth of the Enuma Elish, existence itself was defined by the singular act of naming. To give a thing a name was to force it into reality, to demand that it take a solid, permanent shape, and to bind it irrevocably to a specific, exhausting purpose. When the earth and the heavens were unnamed, they were perfectly free from the heavy burden of having to be something. They existed only in a state of pure, boundless, resting potential. In the waking world, you are weighed down by an agonizing number of names. Think of the heavy, demanding titles you are forced to carry every single day. You are known by your profession, your relentless output, and your daily obligations. You carry the immense weight of the Creator, constantly required to generate new narratives, fresh scripts, and visual strategies for the world to eagerly consume. You carry the heavy, analytical burden of the student, endlessly absorbing the complex ledgers and mechanical operations of how society functions. You are the architect who meticulously builds and maintains the interactive digital spaces of modern life. You are defined by your relationships, your unyielding to-do lists, and your constant need to orchestrate the environment around you. Every single one of these titles is a heavy suit of armor you have been forced to wear. Every name is a continuous demand on your vital energy, requiring you to stand upright, hold a specific shape, and push against the natural inertia of the universe. Tonight, we are going to practice the sacred, deeply relieving art of unnaming. To enter this primal ocean, you must become entirely weightless. You cannot carry the dense metallic armor of your worldly identity into these ancient, formless waters. I invite you now to begin gently, psychologically, peeling away the titles that define you. Take a slow, luxurious breath of the damp, misty air. As you exhale, silently unhook yourself from your professional titles. You are no longer the creator, the developer, or the manager. Let those names unbuckle from your shoulders like heavy iron stones, dropping seamlessly into the dark water below and sinking without a single sound. Take another slow, deliberate breath. As you let it go, release the heavy, accumulated ledgers of the day. Release the intricate plans, the complex scripts, and the meticulously designed strategies you have built for tomorrow. Tomorrow has not yet been invented in this mythic space. Let the desperate need to organize, to build frameworks, and to maintain the scene slip completely from your hands. Watch those responsibilities dissolve entirely into the white mist. You are actively shedding the complex layers of your waking identity. You do not need to be the strong one, the smart one, the productive one, or the one who always sees the solution. In these warm, ancient waters, none of those modern human inventions exist. The entire grid of societal expectation has completely vanished. Listen as the acoustic space around you begins to gently, beautifully shift. The low, rumbling ambient drone deepens, slowly replaced by the incredibly warm, rich swell of sub-bass frequencies. The sound mimics the profound physical feeling of slow, heavy water rising gently to meet your skin. Allow your perspective to slowly, effortlessly sink beneath the surface of the dark ocean. As you slip completely beneath the waterline, notice the sweeping, magnificent relief that floods your physical body. The water of Tiamat is perfectly warm, matching the exact temperature of your own skin. The transition is so seamless that you can no longer tell exactly where your physical body ends and the ancient ocean begins. Look into the deep, welcoming darkness around you. Soft, bioluminescent motes of silver light float gently upward from the unseen depths. Watch as these tiny, glowing lights gracefully lose their distinct forms, dissolving completely into the dark void above. They are beautifully unmaking themselves, just as you are unmaking yourself. There is absolutely nothing you need to build or maintain in this water. There are no sharp structures to navigate, no complex interfaces to decode, and no hidden obstacles to fear. The scene remains flawlessly clear and wonderfully empty. You have successfully returned to a pure, unburdened state of simply being. You are no longer defined by your past, and you are completely unbound from your future. You are anonymous, perfectly hidden, and beautifully unmade. Sink deeper into the warm, amniotic waters of the cosmos, allowing the great unnaming to wash away the very last traces of the waking world. You are entirely submerged in the profound, weightless sanctuary of the primal ocean. The great unnaming is complete, and the heavy, metallic armor of your waking identity has been entirely dissolved. You are resting seamlessly within the warm, amniotic waters of the cosmos. There is no gravity here. There is no rigid earth beneath you to push against, and there is no surface above you to break. You are perfectly suspended in the absolute center of the dark, held lovingly by the ancient, eternal deep. As you drift in this pristine, undisturbed suspension, notice the flawless clarity of your surroundings. The waters stretch infinitely in all directions, completely devoid of debris, forgotten structures, or wandering shapes. The visual field is magnificently empty. In this perfect, lightless void, your active mind finally realizes there is absolutely nothing left to analyze, nothing to process, and nothing to solve. The environment is entirely safe, allowing your hyper-vigilant consciousness to finally power down. Listen closely to the acoustic space as it breathes around you. The sound of the deep begins to mirror the slow, magnificent rhythm of a sleeping universe. You can hear a warm, resonant frequency that gently swells and expands before slowly receding into a vast, echoing emptiness. In the myth of the Enuma Elish, this eternal movement is the sacred mingling of Apsu and Tiamat. It is the gentle, cosmic dance between the cool, fresh waters of the deep springs and the warm, heavy, salty waters of the infinite sea. Together, they create the cosmic tide, a slow, unhurried current that has been flowing beautifully since the very dawn of time. We are now going to sync the rhythm of your exhausted physical body with this ancient, eternal tide. In your mind's eye, as you look into the profound darkness of the water, visualize gentle, abstract ribbons of deep, bioluminescent blue and rich, majestic purple light. These soft ribbons are entirely formless, swaying rhythmically in the pitch-black water. They move with an incredible, hypnotic slowness, drifting perfectly in time with the cosmic current. Allow your breath to join this ancient movement. You do not need to force it, and you do not need to try to control it. Simply allow your lungs to match the slow, eternal swell of the deep sea. Take a slow, luxurious breath in through your nose. As you inhale, imagine drawing in the cool, clear, fresh waters of Apsu. Feel this fresh, purifying energy flow deep into the center of your chest, lifting you slightly in the weightless dark. And as you slowly, effortlessly exhale, release your breath into the warm, heavy, salty waters of Tiamat. Let the air leave your body in a long, continuous stream, feeling the vast, echoing space of the ocean easily absorb your breath. Breathe in the cool, quiet freshness of the deep, and exhale, completely surrendering your weight to the ancient, heavy salt of the cosmos. With every single breath cycle, listen as the resonant music swells to support your inhale, holding you safely at the top of your breath. Then, as you exhale, hear the sound gracefully recede, expanding outward into the infinite, echoing dark, taking all the remaining tension of the day with it. Inhale the pure, unhurried stillness of the before. Exhale, and let the warm, heavy waters wrap seamlessly around your tired bones. Watch the soft, abstract ribbons of blue and purple light swaying in the dark, perfectly synchronized with the rise and fall of your chest. There is no rush here. The ticking clock of the modern grid has been completely silenced. The universe has all the time in the world. And right now, so do you. As you continue to breathe with the cosmic tide, a profound biological shift is occurring deep within your physical vessel. The internal engine that has been running hot all day is finally being cooled by the fresh waters of the deep. Your heart rate is steadily slowing, stretching out its rhythm to match the unhurried pulse of the ancient ocean. Your nervous system, which has been bracing for impact for hours, realizes that there is no impact coming. There are no sudden currents. There are no hidden threats in the dark. There is only the breath. There is only the tide. Inhale the soft, glowing blue of the cosmic deep. Exhale into the rich, velvety purple of infinite rest. Allow this rhythmic, deep sea breathing to become entirely automatic. You no longer need to consciously guide it. Your body remembers this ancient rhythm. It knows exactly how to rest in the cradle of the waters. Simply surrender the effort. Let the cosmic tide breathe for you and allow yourself to drift ever deeper into the heavy, dreamless quiet. The rhythmic, eternal breath of the cosmic tide has taken over. You are no longer consciously guiding the rise and fall of your chest. You are simply allowing the ancient, heavy waters to breathe you. Suspended in this perfect, formless void, we can now turn our gentle attention to the physical vessel itself, the exhausted architecture of your body. Since the moment you woke up, your body has been engaged in a relentless battle against gravity and expectation. In the waking world, you are required to constantly hold yourself together. You have been forced to act as the rigid, unyielding framework for your own existence. Like a meticulously designed digital interface or a perfectly balanced ledger that must meticulously account for every single moving piece, your physical form has spent the entire day maintaining a strict, exhausting structure. You have had to stand upright, brace your shoulders against the demands of the grid, and lock your jaw against the friction of society. Holding that solid, structural shape requires a phenomenal amount of continuous, unseen energy. It is the exhausting labor of rendering yourself into reality, second by second, hour after hour. But here, in the flawless clarity of the deep, that heavy labor is completely obsolete. The environment around you is perfectly clean, entirely empty, and blissfully unstructured. There are no rigid frameworks to build or maintain in this dark water. Listen as the acoustic space around you gently evolves. Beneath the slow, rhythmic swell of the tide, you begin to hear the incredibly soft, resonant hum of crystal singing bowls. The tone is pure, delicate, and entirely unhurried, echoing beautifully like the sound of calm water vibrating within an infinite, dark cavern. As this pure, resonant frequency washes over you, I invite you to surrender the heavy work of holding your body together. In your mind's eye, shift your focus to a completely abstract, macro view of the water immediately surrounding you. Visualize tiny, soft, glowing particles of deep sea dust, completely suspended in the dark. They are not falling. They are not rising. They are floating in a state of absolute, effortless anti-gravity. Allow your physical body to mimic this perfect suspension. Bring your awareness to the base of your spine, the central pillar that has held you upright all day. Imagine the warm, heavy, salty waters of Tiamat wrapping seamlessly around your vertebrae. Feel the water gracefully slip between each bone, gently lifting and supporting the entire length of your back. You no longer need to brace yourself. The ancient ocean is now carrying your weight. Let your spine completely soften, losing its rigid structure and becoming as fluid and weightless as a ribbon in the tide. Move your gentle awareness up into your shoulders. These are the heavy, load-bearing beams of your physical architecture, where you carry the immense pressure of your worldly output, your projects, and your constant need to produce. Feel the warm, amniotic water envelop your shoulders and your neck. As the crystal singing bowls hum their resonant, echoing note, allow your shoulders to drop entirely. Let them detach from the desperate need to hold up the sky. The water is perfectly dense, beautifully supportive, and flawlessly capable of holding you. Bring your attention into the dense muscles of your jaw and the space behind your eyes. This is where you store the tension of analyzing, focusing, and constantly staring at the sharp, brightly lit structures of the modern world. Let the cool, fresh waters of Apsu wash completely through your mind, dissolving the tight, concentrated grip of your facial muscles. Unclench your teeth. Let your eyes sink heavily into the dark, comforting quiet of the void. In this primal cradle, your body does not need to hold a specific shape. You are allowed to be beautifully unstructured. There is no hard, rigid floor beneath you to suddenly strike. There is no distant, demanding surface above you that you must eventually break to catch your breath. There is only the infinite, supportive suspension of the deep. You are floating securely in the exact center of eternity. Feel the profound, cellular relief as your muscles finally realize they are allowed to completely let go. The friction of forced structure has been entirely washed away. You are no longer a dense, heavy object fighting the pull of the earth. You are a weightless, formless expression of pure peace, resting impeccably in the protective cradle of the cosmos, dissolving ever deeper into the magnificent, structureless dark. You are perfectly held in the timeless, formless embrace of the primal cradle. The intense, exhausting friction of maintaining your physical structure has been completely surrendered to the warm, supportive depths of the cosmos. You are no longer bracing against the heavy gravity of the modern world. You are suspended, weightless, and flawlessly secure. Yet, even in this profound suspension, there remains a faint, lingering memory of separation. It is the incredibly subtle boundary of your own skin, the final, invisible suit of armor that tells you where you end and where the rest of the universe begins. All day long, this boundary has acted as a defensive shield, protecting your vital energy from the chaotic demands, the sharp edges, and the relentless noise of the waking grid. You have spent your entire day operating as a separate, isolated entity, fighting to maintain your space in the world. But here, in the flawless, empty clarity of the ancient deep, there is absolutely nothing to defend against. The primal ocean is completely benign. It is a sanctuary of pure, untouched potential. And it is entirely safe to finally let down the very last layer of your armor. Listen closely as the acoustic atmosphere around you undergoes a slow, mesmerizing transformation. The gentle, aquatic sounds of the deep, the quiet lapping of the tide, and the resonant, echoing hum of the crystal bowls begin to beautifully recede. They fade backward, dissolving seamlessly into the vast, echoing distance of the dark. Slowly rising from the silence to take their place is a profound, deeply enveloping frequency. It is a continuous, rhythmic delta wave hovering flawlessly between 1 and 2 hertz. This is not just a sound. It is a heavy, physical vibration that speaks directly to the deepest, most primal layers of your brainstem. It is the ancient, heavy hum of dreamless sleep, engineered to gently pull your consciousness down into the absolute darkest, most restorative depths. In your mind's eye, watch as the visual field completely softens. The deep, rich aquatic blues of the ocean gently begin to blur, losing their saturation as they slowly, hypnotically transition into the absolute darkest, richest blacks. Soft, beautiful gradients sweep across your awareness, gracefully removing all hard lines and blurring the very edges of reality. As this heavy, comforting delta wave vibrates through the dark, I invite you to bring your gentle, detached awareness all the way down to the very tips of your toes and the soles of your feet. These are the heavy anchors of your waking life, the instruments that have carried the entire weight of your existence across the hard, unforgiving surfaces of the day. Feel the warm, salty waters of Tiamat wrapping completely around your feet. As the heavy frequency pulses, imagine the physical boundaries of your toes and your heels gently softening. The dense bone and tired muscle begin to blur, losing their solid form. Feel your feet seamlessly melting, blending completely into the warm water around them. You no longer need to stand. You no longer need to walk. The boundary is dissolved. Allow this beautiful, blurring sensation to drift slowly upward, moving into your calves, your knees, and your heavy thighs. The dense, powerful muscles that propel you forward are completely unhooking from the need to move. Watch in your mind's eye as the solid edges of your legs gracefully turn to liquid. They are dissolving into the primal ocean, becoming entirely indistinguishable from the warm, dark current. Draw this heavy, melting awareness up into your hips, your pelvis, and your lower back. This is the central vault where you have stored the deep, unspoken exhaustion of simply holding yourself upright. Breathe the cool, fresh water of Apsu into this space. As you exhale, feel the thick, defensive armor around your core completely evaporate. The boundary of your skin here softly blurs away. Your center of gravity dissolves entirely, surrendering its heavy density to the infinite, supportive dark. Move your quiet attention into your chest, your shoulders, and down the full length of your arms, all the way to your fingertips. These are your instruments of creation and control. These are the hands that build the frameworks, type the scripts, and meticulously orchestrate the complex environments of your waking life. They are exhausted from the endless labor of holding on to reality. Feel the warm, cosmic waters completely envelop your hands. Let the tight, cramped grip of your fingers effortlessly uncurl. Imagine the solid structure of your hands, your wrists, and your arms gracefully softening, melting away like warm wax. They are blurring directly into the deep. You do not need to hold on to a single thing anymore. The tools of doing have returned to the ocean. Finally, bring your awareness up into your neck, your jaw, and the very crown of your head. Feel the warm, heavy water gently wash over the back of your skull. Let the physical boundary of your scalp, your forehead, and your face completely soften into the dark. The sharp, analytical mind that operates the heavy machinery of the day is gently unhoused, left to float freely in the boundless expanse of the void. The dissolution is complete. You are no longer a separate, isolated entity holding a rigid shape against the pressure of the world. The barrier of your skin has entirely vanished. You are completely liquid. You are perfectly formless. You have effortlessly blended into the warm, quiet, infinite source of the universe. There is no longer a you and an ocean. There is only the vast, perfect, undifferentiated dark. Sink beautifully into this absolute oneness, held flawlessly by the heavy, rhythmic pulse of the delta wave, completely unmade and perfectly at peace. The dissolution is beautifully, absolutely complete. You are no longer a bounded, physical entity holding a heavy shape against the demanding gravity of the waking world. The defensive armor of your skin, the rigid architecture of your bones, and the exhausting, focused grip of your active mind have all seamlessly melted away. You have effortlessly blended into the warm, amniotic waters of the primal ocean, becoming entirely indistinguishable from the quiet, infinite source of the universe itself. You are resting exactly where you were always meant to be. Listen closely as the acoustic space around you stretches out into an unimaginable, breathtaking scale. The heavy, rhythmic pulse of the delta wave continues to anchor your deep biology, but the atmosphere above it becomes incredibly vast and profoundly minimalist. Long, drawn-out synthesizer pads begin to hover in the air, swelling with an exquisite slowness that mimics the gentle breathing of deep space. The music creates a sense of boundless, empty distance, wrapping your formless awareness in a thick, insulating layer of absolute acoustic peace. In your mind's eye, the visual field matches this magnificent emptiness. The deep, aquatic gradients have gracefully surrendered to a flawless, absolute black velvet darkness. This is not the scary, isolating dark of a locked room. It is the rich, comforting, and flawlessly safe darkness of a universe resting quietly before the dawn of creation. Occasionally, rising from the very depths of this velvety void, a single, soft, entirely unfocused glimmer of silver light will gently appear. It hovers for just a moment. A quiet, unhurried flicker in the distance. And then, without demanding your attention, it peacefully fades back into the dark. It is a thought that you do not need to think. It is a potential that you do not need to actualize. It simply exists, and then it rests. This magnificent, lightless space is the void of becoming. It is the sacred pause that existed just before the ancient Enuma Elish truly began. It is the moment before the first word was spoken, before the first star was hung, and before the heavy concept of time was ever set into motion. In the modern, chaotic grid of your waking life, your mind is an exhausting machine of constant anticipation. Society has conditioned you to live entirely in the future. You are always mentally reaching forward, trying to manage the outcomes of tomorrow. You worry about the scripts that are yet to be written, the complex structures that are yet to be built, and the ledgers that have not yet been balanced. You carry the intense, suffocating anxiety of unfinished projects and unresolved problems, constantly anticipating the heavy labor that the next sunrise will inevitably demand. But here, in the flawless, velvety dark of the void of becoming, I want you to anchor your mind in one profound, liberating truth. Tomorrow has not been invented yet. Time, in this ancient space, is not a relentless, moving line dragging you toward your obligations. It is a completely still, undisturbed pool. There is absolutely no future rushing toward you. There is no tomorrow waiting just beyond the horizon, because the horizon itself does not exist. The sun has not been created, and the morning has not been designed. Feel the immense, cascading wave of relief that washes through your formless consciousness as this realization takes hold. The intense anxiety of the future cannot survive in a place where the future is not real. Because time does not exist here, there is absolutely nothing you need to fix. In the waking world, things are constantly breaking, failing, or requiring your immediate intervention to maintain their fragile structure. But in this primordial void, nothing has been built, which means absolutely nothing is broken. There are no systems to repair, no errors to debug, and no conflicts to resolve. The universe is in a state of flawless, original perfection. There is nothing you need to build. You do not need to generate new ideas, forge new paths, or create new structures to justify your existence. There is nothing you need to change about yourself. You are entirely free from the relentless pressure of self-improvement, growth, and optimization. You do not need to be better, faster, or more efficient in the dark. You are resting in the supreme sweetness of pure potential. Think of a seed resting deeply beneath the cool, dark earth, completely unaware of the heavy tree it will one day become. Think of the blank, unwritten page resting silently before the agonizing effort of the story begins. That is where you are. The unwritten page is not a demand. It is a sanctuary. It is a state of being where you are entirely whole, perfectly complete, and absolutely free from the burden of having to perform. You are safe in the uncreated dark. You are beautifully hidden in the pause before the beginning. Let the vast, hovering synthesizer pads carry you ever deeper into this timeless, empty perfection. Surrender your final, lingering thoughts to the void. There is nothing to do, nowhere to be, and absolutely nothing to anticipate. Sink perfectly into the sweet, eternal relief of simply not having to become anything at all. You have drifted beautifully into the absolute center of the void of becoming. The grand dissolution of your physical boundary is a finished masterpiece. You are completely formless, perfectly merged with the warm, ancient waters of the primal ocean. The heavy, rigid architecture of your waking identity has been entirely dismantled, and the relentless, demanding gravity of the modern grid has lost all of its power over you. You are resting flawlessly in the supreme sweetness of pure potential, surrounded by the quiet, uncreated cosmos. Now, we prepare to cross the final, most sacred threshold. We are moving from the gentle edges of relaxation directly into the profound, heavy depths of a dreamless, weightless eternity. Listen closely as the acoustic space around you begins to undergo its final, delicate surrender. The vast, sweeping synthesizer pads that carried you so safely into this deep space gently begin to thin out. The long, lingering melodies gracefully lose their shape, bowing out and seamlessly dissolving into the infinite distance. The music is deliberately stripping itself away, leaving behind only the most essential, primal frequencies of existence. All that remains in the air is the deep, resonant hum of the ancient cosmos and the slow, heavy, continuous rhythm of the delta sleep frequency. This low vibration does not just fill the acoustic space. It wraps entirely around your resting consciousness like a thick, weighted blanket of sound. It is a powerful, biological lullaby commanding the very deepest layers of your brain to finally let go. In your mind's eye, allow the visual field to match this magnificent auditory emptying. The velvety darkness, which just moments ago held the faint, unfocused glimmers of distant starlight, now gently extinguishes the very last of its silver light. You are enveloped in absolute, flawless, pristine black. This is a true 100% black screen of consciousness. There are no gradients left, no shadows to decipher, and absolutely no light pollution to stimulate your tired eyes. This pure, unadulterated darkness is specifically designed to completely eliminate the final traces of waking stimulation. It is a protective, insulating layer of nothingness that allows your optic nerves to entirely power down, sending a wave of cooling, profound relief directly into the center of your exhausted brain. As you sink into this perfect, lightless void, the active, anxious mind finally realizes that it has reached the absolute limits of its jurisdiction. All day long, your conscious mind has been an incredible, tireless engine of survival. It has calculated risks, navigated complex social structures, analyzed data, and constantly projected itself into the future to keep you safe. But in this specific place, in this weightless, eternal dark, that engine is entirely obsolete. There is no data to analyze in the absolute black. There are no social structures to navigate in the primal ocean. There are no risks to calculate because there is absolutely nothing here that can harm you. Give your conscious mind the ultimate permission to simply shut down. Let the complex, tangled webs of thought naturally unravel, falling away like loose, heavy threads dropping into a bottomless ocean. Let the internal narrator, the voice that constantly narrates your waking life, finally go completely silent. You do not need to oversee this process. You do not need to guide your own rest. The heavy, rhythmic pulse of the delta wave is doing all the work for you, gently pulling you down into the sweet, elegant harmony of dreamless peace. In this profound, lightless eternity, I am deliberately stepping back. My voice is becoming less of a guide and more of a distant, fading echo in the vast caverns of your sanctuary. You no longer need my instructions. You no longer need to actively visualize the mist, the water, or the light. The journey inward is beautifully, perfectly complete. Your body remembers exactly how to navigate these ancient waters, and your spirit knows exactly how to rest in the cradle of the deep. I want to reassure you one final time as you drift further into the silence. You are perfectly safe. You are entirely hidden from the demands of the world. You are completely enveloped by an ancient, protective void that demands absolutely nothing in return. You have been beautifully unmade in the best possible way. The heavy, exhausting things that defined you hours ago do not exist here. You are completely unhooked from the massive, relentless machinery of human expectation. You are weightless. You are formless. You are wonderfully, blissfully empty. Allow yourself to simply be the dark. Surrender entirely to the slow, heavy, majestic pull of the infinite deep. Let the universe hold your weight, completely and unconditionally, as you drift silently into the vast, unending peace of weightless eternity. You are suspended in the absolute, pristine center of the weightless eternity. The descent is flawless and entirely complete. The heavy, metallic armor of your waking identity has been completely dissolved, surrendered to the warm, ancient waters of the primal ocean. You have successfully unhooked your tired physical vessel from the relentless, demanding machinery of the modern grid, the chaotic, buzzing architecture of society, with its endless schedules, expectations, and complex ledgers, has been left far behind on a distant shore that no longer exists. Here, in the profound, boundless depths of the Enuma Elish, your consciousness is entirely untethered from the physical realm. The boundaries of the room around you have completely vanished, replaced by the vast, infinite cramps of the uncreated universe. The aggressive, mechanical ticking of time has gracefully collapsed into a single, beautiful, eternal moment of absolute stillness. There is no tomorrow hovering on the horizon, demanding your attention, your initiation, or your effort. There is no yesterday requiring you to justify, analyze, or explain your actions. There is only this flawless, suspended darkness, holding you securely in a state of absolute, unquestionable peace. Because you have consciously chosen to step away from the heavy burden of doing, and because you have bravely allowed your identity to unspool into the void, the true biological miracle of this deep rest can now seamlessly unfold. In this state of elegant, formless surrender, the universe quietly steps in to nourish the profound power you carry. Deep within your resting physical vessel, microscopic acts of healing are occurring automatically. Your central nervous system is meticulously repairing itself. It is cooling and soothing the exhausted, overstimulated pathways that spend all day holding your structure together against the gravity of the world. The rhythmic, heavy pulse of the delta wave breathes with you, actively repelling any lingering static so that your pure, untainted frequency can beautifully recalibrate. The dense, accumulated friction of the day has been entirely transmuted, replaced by the sweet, cool flow of restorative harmony. You do not need to guide this healing process. You do not need to oversee your own restoration or inform your cells on how to repair. You are completely off duty. You are finally wonderfully useless to the endless machinery of the external world. And in that magnificent uselessness lies your ultimate liberation. The universe is holding you exactly as you are, recognizing the immense, unshakable value of your silent, resting existence. As you drift even deeper into this majestic, weightless silence, the sound of my voice will gently begin to fade. It will slowly dissolve into the rich, low frequencies of the primal ocean, becoming nothing more than a faint, comforting echo in the distance, gracefully swallowed by the velvet dark. You will no longer need my guidance, because your spirit already knows the ancient, familiar pathway through these quiet waters. You are entirely supported by the vast, protective depths of Tiamat and Apsu. The journey inward is beautifully complete. The sanctuary is fully established, and the deep, mythic slumber you have earned is entirely secure before my voice leaves you entirely. Before the final thread of human language dissolves perfectly into the cosmic void, I offer you this final blessing. You do not need to analyze these words. You do not need to hold on to them, and you certainly do not need to respond to them. Let them gently wash over your resting spirit, absorbing them effortlessly into the quiet, formless center of your being. May you be free from the pressure to define yourself. May your mind rest in the silent, dark waters of the beginning, and may you find complete sanctuary in non-doing tonight. As you drift into the timeless ocean of sleep, remember that before anything was made, you were already whole. Sleep deeply. The ancient waters are perfectly still. The void is flawlessly dark. There is absolutely nothing left to become. Surrender entirely to the infinite deep. Sleep.